Jacksonville Jaguars, protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Old school.
Going to be stolen, I think, by the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Ray rocked the baby to sleep and slam dunk.
Stolen by Bird and the cut to DJ. Yeah! Buckle up for Kobe Bryant.
New era.
Oh! A jawbreaker! Curry, way downtown. Bang!
It's all basketball.
A spectacular move by Michael Jordan.
Lace them up. It's time for 1010XL's Open Gym. Leading the break, here's RJ Saunders.
Filling in for Hacker After Dark. It's another edition of Open Gym here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. RJ Saunders here with you. Dylan Denmark alongside me. Glad you all are here with us. NBA Finals Game 4. That'll be tomorrow. The Pacers look to take a 3-1 series lead there. Have the U.S. Open going on. Stanley Cup Finals. Jaguars finish minicamp. We have a lot that we have to talk about over the next 2 hours, and we'd love your opinion on today's program. You can do so via the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosure 641-1010 or on our various digital platforms. But let's start with the Jacksonville Jaguars because they've got a lot of important things in which I feel they've taken care of this offseason. You fired the old regime. You're bringing in young minds, fresh ideas. You draft a guy in Travis Hunter who you feel is not only going to be important to the organization, but he's going to change the way we look at football. He's going to change the NFL, and he's going to be doing it right here in Jacksonville, FLA. And you're trying to put as many assets as you can around what you would like to think is your most important piece in Trevor Lawrence. But if I could ask you here, the city of Jacksonville, outside of Trevor Lawrence, who is the most important Jaguar going into this season? Now, I understand that a lot of these guys are important. Travis Hunter being one of them, Josh Hines-Allen, Trayvon Walker, Liam Cohen being the new head coach. However, to me, if you were asking me, I think that the guy who is the second most important player on this team is the guy who everyone almost had a heart attack over because he went down hard yesterday. And that's Brian Thomas Jr. For me, in as many years with this Jacksonville Jaguar team, without a doubt, I think you can argue he's probably one of the better draft picks the team has made in recent memory. Now, that is saying a lot because we've only seen 1 year of Brian Thomas Jr., right? But we see that the talent is there. The explosion is there. The stardom for him is there. And as Jaguar fans, whether you're at home right now listening to this, or you're driving home from work, or you're just out on the night on the town, the thing I've always heard most from you guys, being in that producer's chair, even seeing here on the text line, we want what blank team has. We want our own franchise QB, the generational talent. We want the Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill kind of a guy. And I believe that the consensus here, in my opinion, is that Brian Thomas Jr. has the potential to be that guy. And for a team that's had an offense that has struggled to put points on the board, struggled to have great opening drives Sunday after Sunday, make downfield plays at a clip that would be satisfactory not only to us, but maybe to the entire NFL at large, you have a guy that can go up and get it in Brian Thomas Jr. Stat line from last year, 87 catches, over 1,200 yards, 10 TDs. His 10 touchdowns tied for 6th amongst wide receivers. And a lot of this was done without your generational QB, your franchise QB, Mr. 275, and Trevor Lawrence. Could we see now those numbers potentially go up for Brian Thomas Jr. now that you're going to have Trevor Lawrence and hopefully with a clear bill of health this season? Also, with Liam Cohen in this new offense that he's implementing, is that also going to help a guy such as Brian Thomas Jr.? And speaking of Liam Cohen, here is the Jacksonville Jaguar head coach on what it's been like coaching BTJ so far.
He's got those freakish talent, man. He's got some freakish traits, and just his attention to detail in the meeting room setting, being able to answer questions. You see some of his personality come to life as well. But you see when we get into competitive situations, there's definitely a little bit of an uptick. You get the feedback from some of these guys, especially when it's scripted. They're just kind of like, again, why is it? So we start doing more call it, and you start to see, especially BT, come to life. The ability for a big dude like him to be able to operate in the slot, run some of the choice and option routes, but also be able to go vertical and catch the ball down the field. He's been a real pleasure to work with so far.
Now, I don't think this is going to be a thing like last year where you're just going to have to force feed him the ball. I mean, there were a lot of guys who were injured. Christian Kirk, I think Evan Ingram was out for a couple of games. So now you're trying to play the who's who, and Brian Thomas Jr. was Mr. Consistent. Now you come in with a new regime. You have new pass catchers around him, with the exception of guys such as Parker Washington. But you bring in Diami Brown. You're also bringing in Travis Hunter. And you would like to believe that those guys are going to help Brian Thomas Jr. in terms of making things easier for him in terms of one-on-one matchups, getting open, being able to make a play. On top of that, you may have guys such as Josh Cephas that may be out there. Maybe there's a wide receiver that has done well so far before we get to training camp. Now that we're in the dead period, if he has a great training camp, he could go from undrafted rookie to now having a spot on the roster and maybe able to make a couple of plays himself that will also get Brian Thomas Jr. the ball more, something that Jacksonville, I'm sure, wants to see. This is Liam Cohen, at least when it comes to Travis Hunter, and I also want to put Diami Brown in this as well, because you have guys that are going to be able to make plays on the ball. This is going to benefit a guy such as Brian Thomas Jr.
I saw so much of it. Obviously, a different entity with Cooper Kupp in LA, where you're getting a lot of double coverage, whether it more so be from the slot, where maybe they have a nickel playing outside leverage and then a safety or a linebacker inside of them to double. And then go to Tampa with Mike Evans, and he's more that outside receiver that's getting the corner and the safety double. So it's really just about creating balance. And, okay, if we put them on the same side, well, can we dictate maybe where the double may go and help maybe get one-on-one coverage elsewhere? So, as we go and see maybe how people defend us that way with Brian, it'll help kind of dictate whether we want to get the one-on-one matchup on the inside or on the outside, at the running back position, at the tight end position. So it kind of helps dictate terms, even though it can be annoying at times to get double teams.
Now, with all that being true and everything that I've said up to this point, I do not think that the Jacksonville Jaguars can have a successful season if he doesn't put up similar numbers as he had to last year or better. You have to be able to look for him if you're Trevor Lawrence. If you're Liam Cohen, you have to put him in spots where he's going to be successful for this offense as well as himself. I don't think there are too many guys in the National Football League that are playing corner or DB that are able to keep up with this guy. And for me personally, when it comes to Brian Thomas Jr., if I'm a guy that's saying that he has to get out of his comfort zone, it means this. It means that he has to be a guy that has to be willing to be a tad bit more vocal than what he normally is. We hear guys such as Leon Searcy talk about how Jimmy Smith was a guy when he first got here to Jacksonville, more quiet, more reserved, but he grew to a point to where he would pull Brunell off to the side. He would pull maybe Coach Coughlin off to the side, the offensive coordinator, and say, listen, these guys can't check me. You got to get me the ball. I think Brian Thomas Jr. probably does need to open his mouth a little bit more on that front. I also do believe that he has to become one of the leaders of this team due to the fact that offensively, Trevor Lawrence, Travis Etienne, Parker Washington, you have some vets along that offense. But Brian Thomas Jr. does need to be a guy that needs to be one of the vocal leaders amongst that offense. And maybe next season or as we continue throughout the regular season, he will grow and maturate into being one of those guys that can be a vocal leader within the locker room. And this is something Brian Thomas Jr. did speak about, wanting to grow into more of a leadership role. And honestly, to me, it was refreshing to hear.
Yeah, that's super important for me. That's one of my goals, just to become a better leader and just be there for my teammates when they need me. So, yeah, that's super important for me.
So, in my opinion, the most important piece that's really going to have this team going outside of Trevor is going to be that of Brian Thomas Jr. And I think many of us were able to stay calm and say we're lucky. He was able to bounce back up, even though he went in the back with a couple of the trainers. He was able to come out, had his helmet back on, reportedly did rather well today in the final day of minicamp before now that the NFL has their dead period, and we'll see him at the end of July in the training camp. We'll go into preseason, and hopefully he has a clean bill of health going into the regular season, and hopefully we're playing meaningful football in December, and we're headed to the NFL playoffs. We win the division, and he has to be one of the catalysts to get us there. Now, there are a lot more important pieces. I think defensively, you're going to be looking at a guy such as Josh Hines-Allen. You do want him to get back to where he was when it was that contract year. He talks about how he was 280. He's now gotten back to around 260-ish. Trayvon Walker, you're going to be looking for him on the outside alongside Josh Hines-Allen. What's he now going to be able to do with another year under his belt? I think Eric Armstead's going to be an important piece. What? Yes. I think internally you're going to need a guy who stops the run. He says that there were people in the last regime that wanted him to play on the outside because they didn't have anybody else. Now you put him back in his natural position. I think the Jaguars front office has done a great job in getting some guys along the interior, also guys outside that are going to be able to help tremendously. And yesterday, when you hear about the defense really winning the day, we're hearing a lot about it on the defensive line. Now, we haven't been able to see the offensive line in a stretch where we're saying they're able to hit and they're able to put pads on. And I think there's going to be a lot to learn about this offensive line once we do get into training camp. But I say all that to say that the guy that really needs to stir all of this outside of Trevor is that of Brian Thomas Jr. You have to involve him in the offense early. This can't take a couple of weeks. You have to feature him in this offense as many times as you can, and it seems to me that Liam Cohen is going to do so. If you want to have a successful season, you need a clean bill of health, a great Trevor Lawrence, but you need a dominant year out of one Brian Thomas Jr. Those are my thoughts. However, I would love to hear your 641-1010 on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. But speaking of Trevor Lawrence, when we come back, we'll stick with the Jaguars and we'll talk about the QB. Steve Berline is going to join us next to speak on the franchise quarterback on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Wonder what Rick Ballou would be doing if he wasn't on 1010XL?
A hard-headed PI who'd rather break down a door than knock.
Rick Ballou.
Would he wear a hat and a trench coat, carry a .45, and drive a blue 66 Mustang?
Evenings on 1010XL.
Yes, that's it.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentist and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental with light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, 2 locations in Jacksonville.
Bueller, stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal. Pretty nice weather we're having, huh?
You think this is nice?
I mean, it's sunny, warm. We do live in Florida.
It's not all upside, Jason. Warm weather comes, so all the cool people hit the beach. My old air conditioner craps out, so it's 1,000 degrees inside, and I'm stuck on a video call in my underpants trying not to sweat through my...
Wait. Put these sunglasses on.
I'm not going to put on your... Whoa.
The air conditioning experts at Bueller Air and Plumbing can keep your home office cool and comfortable all summer long. You look good in your meeting, impress the big guy with your cool confidence, maybe finally make assistant deputy regional manager.
Wow, air conditioning can do that?
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend all summer worried the weather is going to be too nice, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
As a Florida homeowner, you're no stranger to mosquito problems. And although it's tempting to use DIY methods to get rid of them, mosquitoes are relentless. That's why it's important to enlist the help of the mosquito experts at Florida Pest Control. At Florida Pest Control, we offer specialized treatment solutions that are effective against mosquito infestations and are committed to keeping our customers protected year-round. For your free quote, give us a call or visit flapest.com today. Florida Pest Control, your local mosquito control experts.
They were right. It could have waited. I can't believe it happened to me. Reaching to check my phone. Now my family has to hear that I'm never coming home again.
Officer?
I'm so sorry. I have some very sad news to share with you.
Every day, 9 people on Florida roadways don't make it home. I was one of the people that didn't make it home.
Ride with Do Not Disturb. Every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
Where does Northeast Florida buy cars? Arlington Toyota. Mia here, and why Arlington? Selection. Arlington has over 800 new and used vehicles all in one location with everyday low prices. Plus right now, save big with 0 down and just $288 per month for a pre-owned 2023 Toyota Corolla. Or how about no payments till January 2026 and 60-day exchange. Shop in person on Atlantic Boulevard just a quarter mile east of 295 or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
This is Hayes Carline, and I'm so proud of my guy, Leon Searcy.
Man, I used to want to eat all the time, but just 1 month on Physician Guided Weight Loss, and I've already dropped 15 pounds.
And I lost 25. No side effects, just results.
The GLP, one curbs my cravings and keeps me feeling full. It's been easier than I expected, and I feel amazing.
Their staff is great, and best of all, no surprise costs.
If you're ready to bring sexy back this summer, visit pgweightloss.com.
Physician Guided Weight Loss, safe, doctor supervised.
And it works.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 12th, 1981, Larry Holmes TKOs Leon Spinks in the 3rd round to defend his world heavyweight title.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville. I always brag on what you guys have on-road and off-road. But Greg, tell everybody about what's happening on the water, because you got loads of opportunity.
We do. We've got lots of boats in stock. We got the Honda 19-foot Fisher Runabout. We've got the Coach pontoons, all of them with that legendary Honda motor and legendary Honda reliability, which you always want when you're out on the water.
You could be cruising along the Intercoastal or out on the ocean, but check it out. Facebook page ready for all of you to see, Cycles of Jacksonville, or their showroom on Atlantic near Regency.
Instant Keys. You don't have to go to the dealer. Instant Keys comes to you. Call 904-722-1111.
Instant Keys
saves the day if you've lost or broken keys. They can program new keys and remotes for nearly every make and model of vehicle at a fraction of the dealership cost. Fast, honest, and reliable locksmith service. Call Instant Keys, 722-1111.
Are your kids ready to play this summer? Come check out the Y. Summer is a time for kids to explore new things and expand the limits of their imagination. At the Y summer camps, every day is a new adventure. Kids can learn about STEM, arts and humanities, athletic sports, outdoor games, and more. Registration is now open, but space is limited and spots are filling up quickly. Learn more and find your adventure at fcymca.org. Search Summer Day Camp.
AA Automotive helps keep your vehicle in dependable and safe condition. Call Sam, Harry, or Joe, and they'll check your brakes, tires, fluids, electric, and motor, so your ride runs smooth on the road. That's AA Automotive on Richard Street.
Hey, Hinkin here for my friends at Zero Res. They want to help you clean your home or business. Big summer savings with 3 rooms clean starting at $129 and 20% off your air duct cleaning. Call them 904-287-5727 and ask for the 1010XL special.
If someone you love needs a pick-me-up, then it's time to get serious about it. And send them a Kuhn floral arrangement. ET here with 1010XL. You'll be assured of a quality delivery, that's for sure. Log on and order online at kuhnflowers.com.
Need or want cash? Beach's Jewelry and Pawn has cash available. Ready to buy guitars, surfboards, jewelry, firearms, tools, and especially gold. They need it all, selling or pawning. Get cash on the spot at Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jacksonville Beach.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Our next guest is what I like to call football royalty. 17-year pro, former Jacksonville Jaguar, now doing amazing work as an NFL and college football analyst for Compass Media. He is Steve Berline, so gracious enough to give us a couple moments of his time here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Mr. Berline, how are you?
Hey, man, I'm doing great. And excited to be at that time of year where we're starting to talk football.
Absolutely. It's certainly a wonderful time of the year, especially here in Northeast Florida. And when it comes to the Jacksonville Jaguars, a lot of talk with Trevor Lawrence the last few days. Many of us feel here that it is a crucial year for one Trevor Lawrence. So I just wanted to start off with just asking you, as a longtime quarterback in this league and a guy who has seen many QBs come and go out of the NFL, just what are your thoughts of Trevor Lawrence so far in his young career?
Well, I'd be lying if I, said I wasn't disappointed. Right. And I think it speaks for itself. The expectations obviously very, very high. Now, I have zero doubt that Trevor Lawrence has the ability to be an elite quarterback. And he's been through so much
right.
Through his first, his 5th year coming up?
Yes.
There aren't many quarterbacks that have been through as much as he has, coming out as the number 1 draft choice, and all the change and all the personnel issues and the highs and lows. So I think the big question that I'm going to be really watching this year is, can he get that swagger back? I think he lost it over the course of the last year and a half in terms of his confidence in himself because he's been through so much. But if he can get that chin up and get that, that chest pumped up a little bit and start walking around with a little bit of a swagger, have some success early in the season, I have zero doubt that he can take the NFL by storm and become a guy that everybody's talking about in a good way, instead of talking about all the bad things.
Now, how much of that kind of around him stuff have you think, affected him? Because, Dabo Sweeney we had on not too long ago. He was on our afternoon show, and he stated that, listen, Trevor can't do this alone. He needs a run game. He needs an O-line that can protect him. I think the last two coaching situations, which you brought up, I think that affected Trevor Lawrence as well in terms of his swagger. So just for you, I mean, as a quarterback, how much of I need a stable situation all around me in terms of the coaching staff being on the same page, front office being on the same page? I have a O-line that can protect me. I have a run game that I can go to. Just how important was all that for you in terms of you being able to be successful? And does the same apply for one Trevor Lawrence?
No, it applies for everybody. I was in a much different situation. You can't really compare my career to what Trevor has been through. I came in as a fourth-round draft choice, and I had to scratch and claw for every opportunity, and never really found a really stable situation in my career. Other than I had a couple years as a backup in Dallas, right when the Cowboys were just starting that great run. Right. In the early mid-'90s. And then, I found a little bit of stability after I left Jacksonville when I went to Carolina and had a chance to, play for 2.5 years. But, never really had that opportunity to be the franchise guy. I think the similarity would be that, a lot of ups and downs, a lot of adversity and challenges, and a lot of doubters out there. A lot of people, saying maybe this guy just isn't what we thought he was, or maybe he's not going to be the guy. So mentally, I always think that's where the line is drawn for great quarterbacks. Anyway, you've got to be mentally as strong as any professional athlete in any sport as a quarterback in the NFL. You have got to be able to take bullets and take accountability and not point fingers and still get up and go on to the next play, go on to the next game, and inspire confidence in your teammates.
Right.
If you can't do that, you cannot make it in the NFL. So I think that's going to be the biggest challenge. Trevor knows everybody's looking at him.
Right.
His teammates are looking at him. They're saying, hey, you're the man. Go out and show us that, that you're the man. Right. And it's going to be a matter of whether he can get himself believing that again with all he's been through. I think he can.
Absolutely. He was a 17-year pro, former Jacksonville Jaguar, now doing amazing work as an NFL and college football analyst for Compass Media. Steve Berline joining us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Final one on Trevor Lawrence. Just for you, in terms of quarterbacks around the league, just where does Trevor fall in that list for you? Is he teetering on top tier? Is he middle of the pack? Is he towards the bottom? Just kind of where do you have him when you're ranking NFL quarterbacks amongst the league, and can he elevate and go higher?
Well, I think you would have a hard time rating him any higher than maybe middle of the pack right now. I think, in that 12 to 15 range, I have to really sit down and put my rankings together and think about it. But, he had a chance a couple years ago when the Jags got off to that great start. And I know a lot of things fell apart, and, all they had to do was win, a couple of their last, 7 or 8 games to make the playoffs, and they weren't able to do that. Some of that blame falls on Trevor. He's got to be able to will his team the way that Josh Allen does, the way that Patrick Mahomes does, the way that Joe Burrow does. Those guys, when they need to put the team on their back and get it done and win the games they have to win to get into the playoffs, they find a way to get it done. And so until Trevor does that a few times, Lamar Jackson is another one of those guys that, has done it. And, obviously he's fallen short as well as far as living up to expectations. But he's shown he can play well in the big games that they have to have. And that's, I think, where you would, if Trevor can have a year where he wins a few of those big games, takes the Jags to the playoffs, then he becomes a top 10, 12 guy. and or higher, depending on how everybody else is doing and exactly how great he plays.
We go from one guy who was looked at as a generational talent to a guy who now the Jacksonville Jaguars have drafted and is being looked at as a can't-miss generational talent. Just how excited are you to see Travis Hunter on the field and see if he can accomplish what he's setting out to do, playing both sides of the football?
Well, I'm excited. I mean, the guy is just fun to watch. He plays with such energy and enthusiasm, and it's infectious. He seems to be a really good team guy that the players love being around, and he's going to be a positive influence in a lot of ways. I do think, coming in as a rookie and trying to do it all is asking a lot. Right. I think they definitely are going about it the right way, I think, and I think that the mentality right now is, hey, he's going to be our starting wide receiver, and we'll use him in certain packages in the defense, just kind of see how it goes. But it's really hard. You can't just say to a player at the NFL level to you're a receiver. Now we want you to go out and cover the best receiver on the other team on a drive where they're we need to make a stop,
right,
to win a ball game. That's not fair to him.
Right.
I don't think he's got to be getting reps if you want him to be able to play at a very high level on the defensive side of the ball. That's because defense, you make one mistake and it's a touchdown, game over. And so I think it's easier on offense to work him in on a consistent. I mean, to put him in there, let him learn how to play wide receiver, and then kind of spoon feed him the defensive side of it, and give him just a little bit more as the season goes along. See how he holds up.
Final one for you before we let you go. Are the Jacksonville Jaguars amongst those teams that you expect to have a bounce back year coming into this season?
I wouldn't say that I expect them to have a bounce back year. There's just too many questions right now.
Okay.
Could consistently do it.
Right. Well, it seems that Steve has dropped out. We have certainly appreciated the time with one Steve Berline, who certainly is on the side of one Trevor Lawrence. And I mean, I've been a guy that's saying I am pulling for him. I just think a lot of things do have to go right for one Trevor Lawrence. And maybe that's not the greatest thing to say in terms of saying a lot of things need to go his way, but I do think an offensive line is important. Liam Cohen and company feel like they have the requisite pieces of an offensive line to get this done. They believe in guys such as Travis Etienne, along with Tank Bigsby. They brought in Bashal Tootin, LaQuinn Allen. They think that those are going to be the guys along the run game that are going to be able to help Trevor Lawrence out. When you hear Liam Cohen, the run game is very important to him. And you also have weapons on the outside, including that of Travis Hunter. If he is able to get his confidence back, like what we saw in 2022, I think that the Jacksonville Jaguars can have a bounce back year. But as he continues to say, it's got to start with Trevor Lawrence. He's got to be the leader of this ball club. Let's see what happens as the Jacksonville Jaguars now enjoy some off time before we get to training camp. When we come back, we will continue with the Jaguars as they finished minicamp. Early thoughts on how the squad looks going into the break. We discuss next with Jamal St. Cyr on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
This U.S. Open update on 1010XL is brought to you by TopDressing.com.
Westwood One Sports presents this special report on the 125th U.S. Open Golf Championship, sponsored by Prevagen. Prevagen, made for your brain. J.J. Spawn has never made a cut at a U.S. Open. The 34-year-old one-time winner on the PGA Tour posted 66 today, 4 under, to lead by 1 over Tristan Lawrence of South Africa at -3. 3 players are at 2 under, including 5-time major winner Brooks Koepka. Sung J M also on that number. There are 5 players at 1 under. Only 10 players under par after day 1, including John Rahm at -1. The 30-year-old Spaniard is seeking his 3rd major championship. With this U.S. Open report, I'm Whit Watson, Westwood One Sports.
David is a real Prevagen user, and this is his story.
Nice to meet you. My name is David. I've been a pharmacist for 44 years, and I'm from Flowery Branch, Georgia. When I first started taking Prevagen, I noticed stuff just seemed to come together and fit like a jigsaw puzzle. When I have customers come in, I recommend Prevagen. Number one, because it's safe and effective, does not require a prescription, and I've been taking it quite a while myself, and I know it works. I wouldn't recommend something like Prevagen if I didn't think it was worth it because it works so good for me. And I love it when the customers come back in and tell me, David, that really works so good. It makes my day.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Testimonialist was compensated for their time.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
This is your Mad Dad's Update with Chapter President Donald Ford. In our effort to curb crime, drugs, and violence during the summer months, we are offering Friday Night Lights. It has already started and will be going until school starts back. It is every Friday night from 6:30 to 9:30 at the Blacktop, 5732 Normandy Boulevard, and behind the Potter's House Christian Academy. We manage 3 basketball courts. You are not running on the cement. We have covering on each court. The Lakers, the Magic, and the Heat. Ages 15 to 40 years old. This will give them something to do other than selling drugs and getting into trouble. We have monitors there giving leadership. We have to wake up, stand up, and speak up. Hit me on Facebook and tell me what you think. Or MattDadJacksonville.com.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
It's kind of like his own private locker, and you're his guest.
Every time we talk, I'm reinvigorated by my love of the game.
Hayes Carline here. Find my blog at 1010XL.com.
Hayes Blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing, where quality and experience count.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. As temperatures warm up around us, ants come out in droves. And when they move into your home or business, it's unnerving. Terminix knows that ants add up fast. But Terminix subtracts them faster because living with ants isn't any fun. When ants show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with an ant problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com.
I'm Stacy, and I want to tell you about my fogged up window fiasco at my house. I called up Mac at Baker Glass, and he told me all I needed was a glass replacement. The process was so easy. All within a few days, they came out, measured, called me with an estimate, cut my glass, and came out to install the new ones. Now my view outside is fog-free thanks to Mac and his crew at Baker Glass. And my neighbors think I got some fancy new windows.
I'm Mac with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Hey, Hicken here, or just call me Dreamfinders Danny. For a limited time to ring in the new year, Dreamfinders Homes is offering an amazing 4.99% fixed interest rate. Now's your chance to lock down that rate and get in the game. You heard me right. It's 4.99 fixed interest rate on select move-in ready homes. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for sales event information and get in the game. Interest rate available on select move-in ready homes. Restrictions and limitations apply. Go to dreamfindershomes.com for more details.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
Hey, Hicken here, and you know I'm going to talk about skin. Yeah, it's hot outside, folks. The oven is on. Temps are in the 90s, and it's only getting hotter. I love the summer, but my skin doesn't. I do my best with dry fit shirts, big floppy hats, plenty of water. My secret weapon, though, the sunscreen. I use it regularly. Maybe you should as well. Look, I've also been seeing docs at Beaches Dermatology for years, and my skin thanks me for it. I'm telling you, it could save your life. Book your appointment today at beachesdermatology.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Done a phenomenal job when it comes to giving us the latest with your Jacksonville Jaguars sports anchor for News 4 Jacks, Jamal St. Cyr, joining us now on Open Gym. Jamal, thanks again for speaking with us, man. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing, RJ?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Always appreciate you spending time with us on the program. So the Jaguars, they finish up their final day of minicamp. You've been updating us all throughout this offseason program when it comes to the squad on the practice field. Just what have been your takeaways in this process under the new regime led by Liam Cohen, but also as the team as a whole?
I think it's a different energy. I think you can kind of already get a feel for that it's just kind of a different vibe. A lot of young guys, a lot of work left to be done. I think this offense, when it's finally unveiled, I think people are going to like it. Okay. It's going to be a little bit of a different look out there on the field than what we've seen. It's finally kind of a modern NFL offense going to be in Jacksonville. So I think there's a reason for excitement here. If the pieces come together, it could be fun. And I think they got a lot of young, talented guys out there. But obviously now it's the long wait until training camp.
Speaking of that offense, it is going to be led by one Trevor Lawrence. How has he looked to you, seeing him day in and day out throughout this offseason process?
He hadn't thrown for like 4 months, so obviously there was a little rust there. Right. There were definitely some throws that he wishes he had back. There were a couple of turnovers in there, probably more interceptions in practices than I'm used to seeing from Trevor over the course of his career here in Jacksonville. But you also got to keep in mind he's learning a new offense and getting adjusted to basically a brand new wide receiver core. His safety blankets that he had before are gone. Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, both gone. De'Ami Brown's brand new. Travis Hunter's brand new. Brenton Strain stepping into a new role. So there's a lot of change around him. So, I mean, definitely not the cleanest, but I don't think there's any reason for concern. Liam Cohen, Grant Udinski both seem pretty confident with what they've seen from Trevor so far. And this is going to be a relatively quarterback-friendly offense. Even Trevor said it himself that he really likes how this offense is set up, and it's different from the offenses he's played in before. And it should be able to kind of set him up for success.
Continue our conversation here with Jamal St. Cyr of News for Jax on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. When you talk about just a new regime in terms of the receiving group, you know what? I've been listening to guys such as Frank Frangie, and there are a lot of people in that building, according to him, that are in love with Dyami Brown. And Liam Cohen feels that he has a ton of ideas in terms of how he's going to utilize him on the offensive end. How excited, in your opinion, should fans be about the addition of Brown to this Jaguars offense?
Look, I'll tell you, it's minicamp and OTAs, but Dyami Brown was extremely active. He was peppered with targets. He's a guy who almost reminds me of like the way Zay Jones kind of showed up in Jacksonville, where he was a guy who he had been around the NFL a little bit, and then Zay came in and had a career season in his first year with the Jags and with Trevor Lawrence, and really made a kind of role for himself. I think Dyami Brown's kind of in a similar position. Comes in on a one-year prove-it deal where, and he's walking into a spot where he's automatically kind of one of the top three targets on that offense as a wide receiver. I think he's going to be very involved. Look, he's got some serious speed to him, and I think they're going to be able to use that in a couple of different ways on this offense. No, they have plans for him. They definitely do have plans for him. I think it's not going to be hard for him to eclipse his career best numbers if he stays healthy this season.
Now, at the top of the program, I spoke about outside of Trevor Lawrence, who's the most important player on this team going into this season. Now, in my opinion, I did say Brian Thomas Jr. I feel that he had a productive year last year, and if he continues on that trend, I do believe that the Jacksonville Jaguars can have a successful season. I think the last time you and I talked, we both have this team at 10 wins. But for you, I mean, who outside of Trevor Lawrence do you feel is the most important Jaguar going into this season?
That's a tough one. Yeah, if I had to go somewhere, I mean, I get two things popping in. Yeah, Brian Thomas is on the radar, for sure. Travis Hunter would be another name that pops into my mind because if he's going to play both sides of the football, if he plays well, he secures two spots. He can help you at wide receiver and help you at corner, and there's all the hype around that, so that kind of speaks for itself. But with the way this offense is going to flow and they really want to do things and run the football, my head goes to one of the running backs. If it's Travis Etienne or Tank Bigsby, I think a guy like Travis or Tank, one of them has to have a huge season. I think that's the catalyst. Like you look at that Tampa Bay offense last year, Bucky Irving, he grew into the spotlight and became their bell cow back. And we've seen Travis Etienne have a lot of success in the NFL. We saw Tank Bigsby when he got an opportunity to have some success last season. They need one of those guys to be able to take over that running game and really help to keep this offense rolling. So one of them I think is really going to be important because there's an old saying, you've probably heard it at some point or another, a running game is a quarterback's best friend.
Right.
So they're going to try and build that running game. They've really improved the offensive line, getting bigger bodies out there to try and help and open some of those run lanes. So I don't know which one of them it is, but I think whoever your starting running back is going to be that bell cow. Is got to be the catalyst. That's got to be maybe the most important outside of Trevor.
Jamal St. Cyr of News for Jax joining us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. With you being there during this offseason program, who's a guy that maybe hasn't been on our radar enough that you were really impressed by during this whole entire process, whether that be a rookie or a vet? Just give us a name in which you liked during this process.
There's a couple. Eli Pankel, undrafted free agent wide receiver. Man, I think he's going to make the roster. He just moves like really smoothly out there. He had a really good time during OTAs and minicamp. So I think he's a guy who has a real shot at kind of cracking into the lineup. Chuma Edoga, I know it's not full padded, and we kind of got to take everything with a grain of salt, but especially on the offensive line side of things. But they've got him rotating at that right tackle spot, and he's a guy who's really been a depth piece for most of his career. So he's another guy that I think maybe under the radar when they signed him, but has a chance at playing a big role for the Jags this year. And Emmanuel Ogbah, honestly, the Jaguars have been searching for that third edge outside of Trayvon and Josh for a couple of years now since Arden Key left, and Ogbah looks like they finally solidified that spot, getting him that third edge, and he's a legit guy that if, there was an injury who can step in and give him something, but even on third downs, just keeping that pass rush going and keeping everybody fresh.
Now, the last time we spoke, I asked you just how crucial and how critical was this year going to be for Trevor Lawrence. Now, there was a soundbite from one Liam Cohen talking about Anton Harrison, saying when he wants to, this dude is a bad boy. In your opinion, just how critical is this training camp process going to be for one Anton Harrison? Because for me, I think that it's to be understood that nobody's job is safe on that offensive line, and everybody is seriously going to have to earn their spot. So where does Anton fall for you in terms of how critical it is for him to be able to show up during training camp to be able to solidify his spot across the offensive line?
Well, it's like I said, look, they've spent most of minicamp and OTAs with Anton rotating in and out with Chuma Edoga at right tackle. And that's just what they did. So, look, I mean, the Liam Cohen getting on the podium and saying that, plus the way they were handling it, that's as clear of a shot as you can possibly do. I mean, that's supposed to be a wake-up call.
Yeah.
So either he's going to respond or he's not. So either he's going to be starting week one or he's not. I mean, that's pretty clear. When the coach is very clearly saying, look, when he's locked in, he's the guy and he can do it, which is what we've seen. The question is, do they think he can be that guy consistently? Because they're going to go with the guy they think is going to show in and week out.
Finishing up our conversation with Jamal St. Cyr of News for Jax right here on Open Gym. So it's now the dead period for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I also understand that it's a dead period for many teams across the NBA, but what would you like your offseason to be for your New Orleans Pelicans this summer before getting into next season?
I just want hope. I want Zion to stay out of trouble. Lord, if I don't have to log on and hear about Zion and some other controversy for the whole off season, it'll be a good day. It'll be a good off season. That's all I need. I just need just skinny Zion to show up to camp, with out of trouble.
Right.
That's it. That's all I ask.
Have you had any thoughts on this year's NBA Finals? Have you liked it at all?
Look, I mean, it's been pretty good. I think the Pacers are going to do it. I think they're going to be too much for the Thunder and shut that thing down. But it's been a fun watch. It's been a fun watch.
Absolutely. He is Jamal St. Cyr of News for Jax, has done a great job keeping us in tune with what's going on with the Jacksonville Jaguars as they now enter the dead period and will be back on the field come late July. Jamal, thank you so much, and hopefully we can do this again sometime down the road, man.
Hey, for sure. Anytime, RJ, man.
There he goes, Jamal St. Cyr, News for Jax, always does a great job. Absolutely appreciate him coming on the program. Asked him about how he felt about this year's NBA Finals series. And when we get back, I do want to discuss this NBA Finals because I was told that this was going to be absolutely boring. But, if you're a diehard basketball fan, you know what? I do believe that you should be pleased with what you've seen throughout the first 3 games of this series. And I do believe that it's also going to be an exciting finish to the NBA season. Let's get into some NBA action next, right here on Open Gym.
This U.S. Open update on 1010XL is brought to you by TopDressing.com.
Westwood One Sports presents this special report on the 125th U.S. Open Golf Championship. Oakmont Country Club is hosting the U.S. Open for a record 10th time. Dustin Johnson was the last winner here. J.J. Spahn holds the lead, 34 years old, an L.A. native. He posted 66 today, 4 under, to lead by 1 over Tristan Lawrence of South Africa at -3. Here was Spahn after his round talking about holding a lead.
All you've been hearing is how hard this place is. And I was actually pretty nervous, but I actually try to harness the nerves, the anxiety, because it kind of heightens my focus. But, there's a long way to go still.
We have 3 players at 2 under, including 5-time major champion Brooks Koepka, 10 players under par after day 1. With this U.S. Open report, I'm Whit Watson, Westwood One Sports.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
If there's one thing we know about dads, it's that they're not easy to shop for. Enter Kohl's. They've got everything from Nike golf gear to his favorite Levi's jeans. And you can save 20% on other finds like Flex Athleisure and Izod workwear. So if you're not sure what to get Dad for Father's Day, you know where to go. Shop Kohl's now. Select styles. Offer ends June 15th. Some exclusions apply. Coupons do not apply to Nike and Levi's. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
ET here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find Scratch Kitchen that always comes in the clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar. Hit a home run for happy hour and ask your Twin Peaks girl about local specials on drafts, cocktails, shots, and more. Come on, somebody.
Baloo here for Smunez Vision. Why Smunez Vision? Well, I've been with Dr. Neil Smunez now since I got back to Jacksonville in 2006. 37 years of experience he has. Smunez Vision is a family organization that focuses on personal high-quality medical and surgical eye care. Dr. Catherine Smunez is fellowship trained in cornea and cataract surgery and all refractive surgery. Combined, that's 30 years plus in laser eye surgery. Visit SmunezVision.com today. Here you can see.
Here's your 1010XL community calendar of local events and nonprofit groups helping people here at home.
If you'd like to help support domestic violence victims, you can get involved in the Par for a Purpose golf tournament hosted by Micah's Place at the Golf Club of Amelia Island on June 20th. Register and learn more at micahsplace.org/golf.
If your 4 to 18-year-old plays sports, they can get a free physical at the Ascension Sports Clinic at the Greater Church of God on Old Middleburg Road, July 12th. To learn more, call 308-7558.
Find out how you can be part of the cure for blood cancer at the Light the Night Walk at ViStar Ballpark November 22nd. Take the first step at lightthenight.org.
Canines for Warriors provides veterans with lifelong companions in one of their highly trained service dogs. If you know a veteran who could benefit from a companion or simply want to support, visit caninesforwarriors.org.
You can find out how to share your community event at 1010XL.com.
Grow your hair back. IHRS offers the latest technology in hair transplants and restorative treatments.
Fast, easy, and effective.
With over 35 years experience, our team is committed to delivering exceptional results. Hair restoration is for us, and it can be for you too.
See how IHRS technology can grow your hair back. Go to hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS, 777-4477 for $250 off.
Want a simple way to boost your company's image without a big renovation? A fresh paint job in your brand's colors can increase recognition up to 80%. At Performance Painting, we help companies stand out with clean, on-brand finishes that impress clients and energize employees. From color consultations to low-odor coatings that won't disrupt operations, we've got you covered. Visit performance-painting.com to schedule a friendly estimate. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Life is just so busy this time of year. Between work, the kids' games, family vacations, I need a yard hero to free up my weekends.
You mean somebody who does mowing and trimming?
Yeah.
How about mosquito control?
Yeah.
What about irrigation and pet waste removal?
You do that too? You're my lawn hero.
Find your lawn hero at heroeslawncare.com. Heroes Lawn Care, because every lawn needs a hero.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Hi, I'm Sean Monahan from Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach. Since 1977, we've been Jacksonville's local family jeweler with a beautiful selection of fine jewelry and certified diamonds. But we're also Jacksonville's leading buyer of gold, silver, and diamonds from the public. Gold's recently hit an all-time high at over $3,000 per ounce. Pay bills, buy something fun. Now is the time to sell your gold for cash and get top dollar, or trade it in for a new piece and get even more at Monahan Jewelers in Atlantic Beach.
Hey, Hickett here for my friends at Zero Res. Gang, vacuuming is not sufficient to maintain the cleanliness and lifespan of your carpet, period. Let me repeat, do not leave deep cleaning to yourself, but do-it-yourself dirt-attracting carpet soaking machines. No. Call on the cleaning freaks from Zero Res. Big summer savings. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $129. Take 20% off air duct cleaning as well. Call them, 904-287-5727, and ask for the 1010XL special. Zero Res, spell it forwards or backwards. It's the right way to clean.
Denny Thompson here. If you haven't heard, Tyson Sound & Security has a house built right inside their showroom, showcasing complete home automation and security systems. You have to see it to believe it. This setup can recognize intruders who approach your door and alerts them to leave if there's a break-in. Keep your family safe with the most state-of-the-art technology. Tyson Sound & Security, your security, home theater, and home automation experts. New showroom at 3555 U.S. Highway 17 in Fleming Island.
If you're tired of weekend projects turning into weekend disasters, you're not alone. Building a fence isn't as easy as it looks. And let's face it, your neighbor still hasn't fixed his lopsided masterpiece. But Superior Fence and Rail makes it easy. Highly trained professionals, top quality materials, and a fence you'll love for years to come. Skip the stress and call the pros today.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
A big thank you to Steve Berline as well as Jamal St. Cyr. Talking about our Jacksonville Jaguars. Steve Berline, he said that he had a dead spot. The team he was going to say to keep an eye on for in the AFC is the Jets. If Fields can play at a consistent level, they can make a run. He has some weapons on offense, and that defense is championship caliber. How far away are the Jacksonville Jaguars from getting to that spot? We will certainly have to see as they finished up minicamp. Now enter the dead period, and we'll be back on the field for training camp, and that's where all the excitement is going to happen, and football will be all that is on our minds here in the 904. Now, when it comes to these NBA finals, I want to say this. I don't think that NBA dynasties are over. We just haven't seen it, honestly, since the Golden State Warriors, who had the league in grips of terror. However, I do believe that the NBA is dynastic in nature. And the fact that you have two small market teams in these NBA finals, I think it says a lot to not only players, but also to fans. You don't have to make these super duper teams. On top of that, you don't need to be in a big market such as LA or New York to be successful. You can build through the draft. You can make smaller moves. You can believe in a guy and say, we are going to build around him. Because if you look at the two teams that are in this year's NBA Finals, that's essentially what happened. The Clippers had a chance at Paul George. Kawhi saying that he wanted to play with another star. Reportedly, KD had said no to Kawhi. Paul George wanted to come back to California. So to get Kawhi Leonard to come to LA and sign with the Clippers, we'll give up the farm for Paul George. Sam Presti and the Thunder thought enough of SGA to say, that's the guy we want. And that's the guy we believe we can build around. Doc Rivers has been a guy to say on many occasions he knew that Shea was going to be a star. How's it working out for the Clippers so far in terms of giving up a guy who they had in their back pocket? When it comes to the Sacramento Kings, they thought De'Aaron Fox was the better option. He's a scoring guard. Tyrese Halliburton has a lot of potential. But the way in which the league is going, your guard really needs to be score first. So let's continue to build around De'Aaron Fox. We'll get a stud and Domantas Sabonis. And Halliburton can have his opportunity to be a starter in Indianapolis. Now, both of these teams, honestly, have been together for quite some time. And that's something that we do not see in the NBA nowadays, right? That's just not the norm. And Halliburton, he had said after game 1 in the Eastern Conference Finals against New York, he had talked about you hear roster turnover each and every year with contending teams, even non-contending teams. But we have grown and we've learned together. This is why we are so successful. This is why we're not scared in big moments. Because we've been together long enough. Indiana, to me, is the deepest team in the league. And you have a guy in Halliburton, although there are many of his peers who called him overrated, I do believe this is a guy you can cheer for. He's proved everybody wrong at this point. We all have ideas about that in our own lives, right? And now you're 2 wins away from an NBA championship. Now, other side of the coin with OKC. Deep roster. My goodness, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. If he's not a superstar. And I think he keeps the conversation going that once LeBron James, Steph Curry, and Kevin Durant all ride off into the sunset, will the face of the league be an American-born player? Or if OKC comes back and wins this NBA Finals, does the NBA have to consider the fact that an international guy is going to be the face of their league for the first time? When I've looked at this matchup through 3 games, the chess match in which we're seeing the defensive strategies we are witnessing have been nothing short of phenomenal. And in big moments, we're not just seeing the stars in Tyrese Halliburton and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander do their thing, but you got the role players making big-time plays as well. We even saw that in game 2, although that was a blowout. The role players on OKC made it very difficult for Indiana. I believe that was 19 turnovers in the first half alone. But I get it. I get it for the casual fan. Samaki Walker also talked about this when we had him on the program. This isn't LA. This isn't Boston. This isn't New York, where maybe that would have even the casual fan sit in front of their TV and watch the game. Now, my retort has been that, the NFL hasn't been a league where it has to be LA or New York or the Cowboys or the Steelers for them to have the eyes on the product. The NBA has promoted the larger cities for decades. Lakers, Celtics, Bulls, Knicks, Sixers. And the running thought process, at least in my opinion, is that the league is better when those teams are good. You get more eyes on the product that way. So this NBA Finals series not having the ratings in which you would assume it would have if there was a bigger market team in these NBA Finals, it's understandable as a casual fan. But this is what Commissioner Adam Silver had to say concerning the question about ratings being low in the championship round this season.
So we have two markets, as we've all been around for the last week in Oklahoma City and Indianapolis, that are completely captured by the finals. I mean, every store you go to, there's signage. Everyone, look at this concourse here. Yeah. Everybody on the streets is wearing the team colors. I mean, and I think I've been doing this for a long time. I don't remember being in two markets where it feels like so dominant to have these games. Then as a media matter, it's interesting. Like, people compare us to 20 years ago, but for these games 1 and 2 so far are the highest rated programs in May and June so far on television. And if something beats us, it'll be another sports program. Back 20 years ago, we often didn't win the night when the finals were on. But the ratings, the absolute rating is lower now. But what's happening, people talk about in politics all the time that we're a divided society and people just want to watch their point of view. The world's changed. There's so many more options now that, and this goes to your question, that when for us a huge event happens like the finals, the question is, how do you bring in casual viewers? It used to be when you were on ABC, there were only a few networks. Right. And then there's some cable channels. And so if there was the NBA finals on or the World Series or whatever it was, you were drawn to it because it was a big event in society. People were talking about it at work the next morning. And long way of saying, I think we have to do new things now. So in some ways, I couldn't be happier. I mean, we're dominating in these cities. We're dominating relative to other programming. But ultimately, the goal is to get more people to watch. And that's what makes it a bigger event.
Now, according to the numbers, which I'm looking at right here, games 1 and 2 together reportedly averaged 8.84 million viewers. This total is down at least 24% from the last 3 years and is the lowest since 2007. The two teams that played in 2007, San Antonio Spurs and LeBron James, getting Cleveland over the hump against the Detroit Pistons to make his way towards the NBA Finals. Now, when it comes to Adam Silver, the only gripe I would have in terms of what he said there, I just think you didn't hype this series enough to the casual fan. And this has been a problem for a minute when it comes to the NBA, in my opinion. Where have the videos gone of where amazing happens or the NBA? I love this game. I used to see those commercials growing up as a kid. It felt like every other commercial. You could hype the 2001 Sixers back then. It was David versus Goliath. Iverson versus Shaq and Kobe. Blue Collar City versus Tinseltown. You don't have to hype the Lakers and the Celtics. It's the Lakers versus the Celtics. But Indiana versus OKC, I understand this is something that probably doesn't move the casual fan, in which I think Adam Silver is really trying to get that audience. Here's another question I have. Who is the genius that decided to take away the Larry O'Brien trophy out of the middle of the court? They don't do the starting lineups anymore. I thought that was special programming when ESPN or ABC used to do that for the NBA Finals. So the NBA hasn't done a great service to the casual fan to say, turn this on and watch this instead of Netflix or Hulu or MLB or the Stanley Cup final. But to the diehard, such as myself, many others that are listening, I think this series has been great. And honestly, I still don't know who takes this series. Now, Charles Barkley has said he feels this is quote-unquote D-Day, pause, but D-Day for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Isaiah Thomas had said he felt that the Indiana Pacers were going to win Game 3. Now, I believe he also said that he thinks that Indiana can win Game 4. If they take both at home and take a 3-1 series lead, I think it's an uphill battle for the Oklahoma City Thunder. But, I mean, we saw it with LeBron James a few years ago, able to come back from a 3-1 deficit. But I think you have a team in Indiana, when they smell blood in the water, they go after it. And they're also a team, if you keep it close, they believe they're right in it. And most of the times they are. We've seen it all NBA postseason with them, whether it be against the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Milwaukee Bucks, or the New York Knicks. And we also saw it in Game 1 against the Thunder. You can't give them any signs of life. And unfortunately for OKC, they have not been able to do that for 2 out of the 3 games. Game 2, they were able to stomp their roof in. But games 1 and 2, if we can make a little bit of a run and you can't hold the lead, we'll go right through the door. Now, in my opinion, if there is a dynasty here, it could be OKC. But in my opinion, I think Indiana will have the better story because they were so overlooked this season, even by a guy such as myself. But we could also have parity here. After this season's over, we're going to have our 7th different champion. Could we have an 8th this time next season? Or if OKC makes it over the hump, is that the next dynasty? Right now, I just don't believe Indiana will be a team that's going to be a dynasty, although the East, I feel, is going to be wide open. Jason Tatum's out. Seems like the Boston Celtics are fire sale for the right moves and for the right pieces in return. You'll have Cleveland. They're going to be in the mix. What happens with Milwaukee? A lot of questions there. If the Orlando Magic make the right moves, I think they can have a playoff run of their own next season. I've been pounding the table on that. The New York Knicks, who's coaching you? Can we answer that question first? Are you trading for Kevin Durant? Is Karl Anthony Towns gone? Let's answer those questions. But the Indiana Pacers will be in the mix. Will they be the best team in the Eastern Conference? Certainly possible with how open the East will be. In the West, it's going to be tough. There's going to be a lot of teams coming back. But OKC for the last 2 years have shown that does not bother them. This has been a great story for both teams. A lot of storylines within both teams. Although the NBA hasn't done the greatest of jobs, in my opinion, promoting this, this has certainly been a great series. And I'm hoping that it goes all 7. My thoughts, I would love to hear yours, 641-1010. But when we come back, let's stick with the NBA Finals. Let's discuss Game 4 in the NBA at large with CBS Sports' John Gonzalez. He joins us next right here on Open Gym.
From pit road to victory lane.
He'll bypass him on the back straightaway.
Sunday in Mexico City.
That should be all she wrote.
Brought to you by the Plumbers and Pipe Fitters Local Union 234. From the station with the most horsepower. 1010XL.
Attention business owners and property managers. Hurricane season is right around the corner. Is your property ready? Call the pros at Duck Duck Rooter for expert storm drain cleaning and hydrojetting. Our powerful VACCON truck clears the way so your drains flow freely when the rain hits. Call 904-862-6769 today to schedule your service and protect your property before the storms start rolling in. Duck Duck Rooter, your trusted name in storm drain maintenance. Visit us at duckduckrooter.com. We're a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental. Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental. With light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, 2 locations in Jacksonville.
Watching Clorox cleanup spray dissolve tough grime in the shower feels like...
Wait, this really just happened? Oh, I'm shocked. Underwear and everything?
It feels like being able to zip up your overpacked suitcase on the first try.
Smooth.
With Clorox, clean feels satisfying. Clean feels good. Use as directed.
I'm Drew Scrimshire, president and publisher of the Jacksonville Business Journal. In business, timing is everything. That's why every morning at 8:15, our morning edition delivers the most important business news straight to the inboxes of Jacksonville's decision makers, executives, entrepreneurs, investors, and industry leaders. Want to know what the First Coast power players are reading before they start their day? Join them. Subscribe today to the Jacksonville Business Journal Morning Edition at bizjournals.com/Jacksonville.
This Date in Sports History is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On June 12, 1981, Larry Holmes TKOs Leon Spinks in the third round to defend his world heavyweight title.
Why does Northeast Florida buy from Arlington Toyota? Because Arlington is the place to go for big selection. I'm talking over 800 vehicles, folks, one location. Plus 60-day exchange. Love it or exchange it within 60 days. Why buy from Arlington? Because right now you can get financing as low as 0% on select new Toyota models. Shop in person on Atlantic Boulevard just a quarter mile east of 295 or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com. Visit arlingtontoyota.com/0 for full details.
You tired of high energy bills? Replace those inefficient windows and patio doors now. Don't miss Renewal by Anderson's 30th anniversary sale. Buy one window or patio door and get one 30% off. Financing options are available and this offer expires June 30th. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Florida Gators. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Blue here for the Blue Crab House, located right off of San Jose. It's on Jewington Creek Road. They've been around since 1996. Indoor-outdoor dining. Also, takeout is available at the Blue Crab House. Open 4:30 to 9, Tuesday through Saturday. Sunday, noon until 9. Remember, Tuesday, $2 margaritas. Wednesday, $1 oyster night. How about the blue crabs? How about my personal favorite, the Canadian snow crabs? Whatever it is that you fancy, you get it right there. The Blue Crab House.
This is Mark Nato. My son Justin injured his hand playing baseball for JU. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists performed surgery just a few days later, and within 5 weeks, he was cleared to play in the ASUN baseball tournament. Our family has trusted Southeast Orthopedic Specialists for years. For any orthopedic injury, let Southeast Orthopedic Specialists take care of you too.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
Have you been diagnosed with moderate to severe opioid use disorder? You may qualify for a new clinical research study. Dr. Ferdinand Formoso is now enrolling participants to evaluate the effectiveness of a non-opioid medication treatment option for OUD. Qualified participants will receive study-related care at no cost and may be eligible for reimbursement of travel and accommodations. To qualify, applicants must be 18 to 65 years old, have been diagnosed with moderate to severe opioid use disorder, and have not been on medication to treat opioid use in the last 3 months. The study lasts up to 22 weeks, with weekly visits during treatment. If you're ready to explore a new path forward, visit OUDstudy.com for more details and qualifications. Take the first steps and visit OUDstudy.com. That's OUDstudy.com. OUDstudy.com.
David here with Royal Pest Services. Man, don't let your yard be torn up by that heavy aeration machine this spring. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to learn more about our granular aeration. Broadcast throughout the tree and shrubs to break up that compacted soil. Visit RoyalPestServices.com.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line. Hello. Your floor's missing piece.
Back here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. It is Open Gym. RJ Saunders here with you. Glad you guys are here with us. The Pacers currently enjoying a 2-1 series lead over the Oklahoma City Thunder. They now look to take a commanding 3-1 advantage on tomorrow night. And the question is, can they do it? Well, let's talk it over with our next guest. He is our NBA insider as well as CBS Sports NBA analyst, John Gonzalez. So kind enough to discuss the NBA Finals between the Pacers and the Oklahoma City Thunder. John, how are you, sir?
RJ, thanks for having me, man.
Absolutely. Now, I understand that these aren't two teams that, say, are LA or New York, Boston, Philly, heck, I mean, even Golden State. But I feel that if you're a basketball fan and a diehard one at that, this has been a pretty fun series. Just for you, how have you enjoyed the championship round, and what were your takeaways from that Game 3?
Yeah, I think you're right that, like, if you're a casual NBA fan, maybe it doesn't pop off the page because of the market sizes. But if you like basketball, or if you just like competitive sports in general, 2 of the 3 games have been really good. Right. Game 1, the Pacers won on that almost buzzer beater. It didn't lead until 0.3 seconds left from Halliburton. And then Game 3 last night, Oklahoma City was up going into the fourth quarter again, and then they came out of it with a loss again because the Pacers are just really good at closing. And I think it's a triumph for the NBA to have 2 teams that are just really good at the sport performing well in the finals.
Now, I do believe at some point you have to go from saying Indiana is a team of destiny to that of just they're a really good team. You have your 2 all-star players in Tyrese Halliburton as well as Pascal Siakam. And in my opinion, your bench is possibly the deepest bench in the entire association, and you're being managed by one of the greatest head coaches in the history of the league. Yet I feel that this was a team that was very overlooked this season because we were so focused on teams such as Boston, Milwaukee, New York, and Cleveland within that Eastern Conference. Just in your opinion, what makes this Pacers bunch such an outstanding ball club?
Yeah, I mean, all the things that you just outlined, Rick Carlisle doesn't get enough credit. He won a championship, obviously, with Dallas, where they punched above their weight and beat the Miami Heat. He remains one of the best coaches in the NBA, and I think he keeps touching on this post-game where he'll say, look, I know everybody's clamoring for more Tyrese Halliburton. And by the way, he was really good in Game 3, almost a triple-double.
Yes.
But he said that, that's not really our team. That's not really our system. Our system is predicated on everybody being involved. And he just rattled off, it's Halliburton, it's Siakam, it's that bench that is, if not the deepest one of, along with Oklahoma City. And you saw how good that bench was last night. And I think, it's easy to overlook because there's not a ton of star power on this team, but the team is greater than the sum of its parts. So when Tyrese Halliburton sits at the dais for the postgame and he says, hey, we've been overlooked, nobody believed in us, generally that's a sports cliche. It makes me roll my eyes. But with these guys, it's absolutely true. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, and I went on air and said, great run, congratulations, they're never coming back. Well, guess what? The very next year, this year, they make it again, and this time they make it to the NBA Finals. So he's right. People have overlooked them.
Continuing our conversation with John Gonzalez. You hear him on CBS Sports. He is their NBA analyst, joining us here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Speaking of Tyrese Halliburton, is he a superstar, or is he flirting with that title potentially, in your opinion?
I mean, he made All-NBA, right? So that makes him one of the 15 best players in the league, which makes him one of the 15 best players in the world. So, yeah, I'd say he is. I mean, whether or not you want to call him a superstar, I guess some people might take umbrage with that because maybe he doesn't have the same pop as, LeBron or KD or Steph. But he was also on that Olympic team. Yeah, he didn't play participation gold medal, but anybody would take that. I mean, if you're one of, again, 15 best players in the league in All-NBA, and then one of the 12 best Americans on a team that probably was the greatest basketball team ever assembled, that's pretty good company to be in. And I think he's showing everybody. I mean, he's hit big shot after big shot after big shot. Yes, he wasn't great in Game 2, and he didn't show up until late in Game 1. But when he showed up late in Game 1, hit the game winner. And then last night, again, he was really good. So, yeah, I think a lot of people are getting clued into how good he is.
shifting our attention to the Oklahoma City Thunder, because whether you're a diehard fan or just a casual basketball fan, this series is far from over, and you do understand that that's a very good Thunder team that is facing the Indiana Pacers. And we saw just how dominant they can be during that Game 2 matchup before the series shifted to Indiana. So I just wanted to ask you, do you think that this Thunder team can respond and win Game 4 tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, look, they have answered pretty much every test that they've faced so far this postseason. Coming into the playoffs, people wanted to know, hey, what would happen when this young team that got bounced out of the second round last year faced some adversity, faced some tests? Well, it happened in the second round where they lose Game 1. Aaron Gordon hits that three-pointer to win on their floor for the Nuggets. Then they're down 2-1 to the Nuggets. Then they go to Game 7 against the Nuggets. They won. They advanced. They beat the Wolves. They're here now. So far, so good. I mean, they've been down there. I'm sure that they don't want to be down 2-1, but so far they've shown that they can respond. So I would be surprised. I think that they're going to win Game 4, but I would be surprised if at the very least they don't respond to the way that they played, especially in the fourth quarter where they kind of fell apart. They came apart at the seams a little bit last night, and they did not play well in the fourth quarter. I would expect them to be better there.
Now, I said it before at the top. I understand that these aren't teams such as the Lakers, the Celtics, the Knicks, even the Sixers, for that matter. And when you look at the NBA as a whole, it's always been a dynasty-driven league. Now, we are inching towards our 7th different NBA champion once this is all said and done. And parts of me believes that you have those casual fans that enjoy the dynasties because it gives them someone to either cheer for or maybe even that of hate. But when I look at this Thunder team, John, and I say with the pieces in which they have and the superstar they're being led by in Shea, if OKC comes back and wins this year's finals, they could potentially be the next dynasty that we see in the association. And I just wanted to know from you, is that something that you see as well, or could we see an 8th different champion this time next year when the NBA season rolls back around?
Yeah, could have an 8th. I mean, look, the parity is pretty pronounced. I'm not a big dynasty guy. It was fun to watch the Warriors early on in that run, but by the end, I was so ready for something new because up until the Toronto Raptors ended up unseating them in 2019, we had 4 straight years of them versus the Cavs. And at some point, give me a little variety here. But yes, the Oklahoma City Thunder, Sam Presti has done an incredible job. Whether or not they win a championship this year or not, they're going to be in the mix to win championships for the next, 4, 5, 6 years because they're cost controlled. They've got a lot of homegrown talent. They've got a whole bushel of picks that Sam Presti has stockpiled. It's just like a masterful job of team building that he's done with these guys. And there's so many layers of redundancies there where, defensively, obviously that's their identity. They've got, defenders stacked on top of defenders, stacked on top of defenders. And then SGA is the MVP, followed by Jalen Williams, who really took a step forward this year and made his first All-NBA, first All-Star, first All-Defense. And then Chet Holmgren, who is just scratching the surface of his potential. They're just really talented. So championship or not, they're not going anywhere.
Continuing our conversation with John Gonzalez, NBA host as well as analyst for CBS Sports, joining us here on Open Gym. Couple of around the league questions for you, John, before we let you go. First, we'll start with Kevin Durant. Outside of Giannis, this seems like this is going to be the guy that's going to be the darling of this free agency period. Where do you think he calls home next season?
Well, it's not going to be Phoenix, it doesn't look like, right? I mean, because there's reports now all of a sudden that I'm actually kind of surprised that he didn't take the out at the trade deadline. I'm not sure what he was thinking there, but okay, now it looks like they've all decided that he's going to move on. So the popular landing spots are ones that everybody has heard of. The Knicks evidently made an offer at the trade deadline. They're going to be in the mix, although I guess that would require unplugging Karl Anthony Towns, which would be interesting. Minnesota, also interesting. Anthony Edwards, KD was his favorite player growing up. That's one to watch. Then in Texas, you've got the Spurs. That could be a potential landing spot. And then I think the team that has the most to offer right now, if they wanted to go that route, although it probably doesn't fit their timeline, would be Houston. Houston is sort of OKC next, right? They've got a whole bunch of young players. They've got a ton of potential talent that they could dangle in front of the Suns on top of a whole bushel of draft picks, including much of the Suns' future draft picks. So if the Suns want to get some of their picks back, Houston would be an excellent trade partner for them. But I wonder whether or not that would be an avenue that the Rockets would go down because KD is 37 and they have a whole bunch of younger pieces. So I'm not sure that the fit is quite perfect there, but certainly it's something to look at.
He brought up the New York Knicks. Just tell me, how would you describe that whole situation that's going on in the Big Apple?
Dysfunctional, odd, curious, not sure what they're doing there. Leon Rose is a really smart guy, put together a really good team for years and years and years. That organization was a laughingstock, right? They hadn't been back to the Eastern Conference Finals in 25 years. They finally make it this year. They fire Tibbs. Okay, I get it. But to not have a plan, or for the plan to be, hey, we're just going to ask pretty much a sixth of the league if we can interview their head coaches.
Right.
It's very strange. There's some good candidates out there that are unemployed that you go and grab. I guess their whole point here, RJ, or their whole theory of the case is that they're the only game in town right now. They're the only team looking for a head coach. So maybe they think, hey, we can take our time here. We could try to get permission to talk to some coaches who are already employed and under contract. And eventually, if we're told no, we can go grab Mike Malone or Taylor Jenkins or Micah Nori or somebody like that off the discard pile.
Does Giannis stay in Milwaukee, or is he on the move? It seems that, reports early on was, he's going to show interest. He's going to be open-minded. Maybe he's on the move to a team such as New York, who seems to want to give a king's ransom for the Greek Freak. Maybe San Antonio gives up their number 2 pick to pair him with Wembanyama. Now, suddenly, it seems that maybe he's going to stay with the Milwaukee Bucks and try to see this through. Just kind of, how do you see it this summer with Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks?
Yeah, he gave that interview in Brazil where he said, he's going back to the Bucks, and it's early June, right? So much can change. A couple of months ago, we all thought that Luka Doncic was going to be in Dallas for the rest of his career, and now he plays in Los Angeles. Right. The NBA silly season is almost upon us. Once that starts, so much can happen. I would be surprised if he's in Milwaukee. Maybe he starts the season there, but eventually I would expect him to ask out because, look, it's pretty plain that they have a big rebuild coming in Milwaukee, right? They don't control their draft. They have a second-round pick in this year's draft, but, what's that going to get you? No Dame Lillard for sure. Bobby Portis has a player option. Brooke Lopez is a free agent. Gary Trent's a free agent. They're super expensive. They're in cap hell. I mean, just go on and on and on. That's not a winning situation for Giannis, and he's wasting time. I mean, he has said he wants to win another championship. Well, it's been fun in Milwaukee. It's not coming there.
Finishing up our conversation with John Gonzalez, going around the league with the NBA analyst for CBS Sports right here on Open Gym. So after watching the Pacers playoff run, Jamal Mosley of the Orlando Magic said that he sent a text to his team and said, we're not far off from being where the Indiana Pacers are, and it feels that the East, due to what we're seeing with Indiana, it may be wide open next year. I just don't see one particular team being that dominant force within that conference. We have a lot of fans here in Northeast Florida that are huge diehard fans of the Orlando Magic. Do you think that if they're able to make a couple of additions to the roster and Paolo Banchero stays healthy and he continues to develop and go on that trajectory that we've seen him go on so far, that could be a team we could see in the mix that could potentially make a playoff run next year?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a big fan of the Magic. I like what they've done there. I think they're ready to take a swing. Yes, it does come down to Paolo Banchero and then also Franz Wagner. Right. And then around them, though, quite obviously, the defense, what Jamal Mosley has done with that team is fantastic. Yes. Their defense is excellent. Obviously, though, they need scoring, right? I mean, everybody knows that is an offensively challenged team. So I want to see what kind of pieces they put around those guys to boost that scoring. But, yeah, in the Eastern Conference, it's up for grabs. You saw the Cleveland Cavaliers were number 1 with a bullet in the East all season long, get bounced in the second round. They're going to be back. Darius Garland just had surgery, but they'll be back in the mix. But beyond that, you've got Boston influx with no Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown just had surgery, and they've got to unplug either Kristaps Porzingis or, say, Jrue Holiday because they're in cap hell. Right. Then after that, the Knicks, they're going to be in the mix. The Bucks, who knows what's going to happen? We just discussed whether or not Giannis is going to be gone. Philly is an absolute unknown. The Pistons are on the rise. Yeah, the Eastern. Oh, and of course the Indiana Pacers, who are in the Eastern Conference Finals, they'll be right there too. But I think that this is a year where the Magic could make the leap because so much is uncertain in the East. But they really got to answer the question about where do they go for scoring after their 2 main guys.
Before we let you go, John, and thanks again for giving us a couple moments of your time, let the fine folks here in Jacksonville know how they can get a hold of you and your great work, and as to when and where they can watch you continue to give your incredible NBA analysis.
Thank you for that. Nice of you. You can catch us on CBS Sports HQ, streaming online and also on Paramount Plus, and also the Beyond the Arc podcast available wherever you get your favorite shows or on YouTube.
He is John Gonzalez, a CBS Sports NBA insider, NBA analyst for CBS Sports, joining us here on Open Gym right here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Enjoy the rest of the finals, John, and we'll do this again once the offseason rolls around and we get into free agency. Would love to get your thoughts on all the moves that are going to be incoming.
RJ, always a pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
This U.S. Open update on 1010XL is brought to you by TopDressing.com.
Westwood One Sports presents this special report on the 125th U.S. Open Golf Championship. Stay in the game all off-season with NFL Plus. Subscribe at plus.nfl.com. Terms and conditions apply. J.J. Spawn leads the U.S. Open at Oakmont after a bogey-free round of 66. South African Tristan Lawrence, a four-time winner on the DP World Tour, is behind him at 3 under. Five-time major champion Brooks Koepka among a group at -2 that includes Sung J M and Siwoo Kim. Ben Griffin, John Rahm, and Thomas Dietrich are at -1. Oakmont baring its teeth on Thursday, only 10 players under par out of a field of 156. Defending champion Bryson DeChambeau shot 73, 3 over. With this U.S. Open report, I'm Whit Watson, Westwood One Sports.
The Jeep brand has always stood for American freedom. And now we're standing with you with Employee Pricing Plus. Hurry into your Jeep brand dealer for details today and join the family. Jeep, there's only one. Offer valid on select 2024 and 2025 Jeep brand vehicles for non-FCA employees and retirees. $200 admin fee applies. Not all buyers will qualify. Restrictions apply. Does not apply to leases. Ends 6/30/25. Jeep is a registered trademark of FCA US LLC.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
As a law enforcement officer, safe roads are one of my top priorities, ensuring everyone can get home safely each day. Some never will, due to aggressive driving, being distracted, or speeding on the roads. And too often, that results in the toughest part of my job and the longest walk in my life. I'm so sorry. I have some very sad news to share with you.
9 people will be killed on our Florida roadways today. Don't let it be you or a person you love. Buckle up every trip, every time. Let's get everyone home safely. A message from Florida Department of Transportation, Target Zero. For more information, visit targetzerofl.com.
Craving a cold one? Well, zip into one of the great gate locations you see all over town and pick up a cold Bud Light, or a Natty, or an Ultra. Maybe a 12-pack of the King of Beers, or some cold Coronas. It's all happening at your local gate convenience store. Slide on in today.
Bueller. Stay cooler with Bueller.
Hey, pal. Pretty nice weather we're having, huh?
You think this is nice?
I mean, it's sunny, warm. We do live in Florida.
It's not all upside, Jason. Warm weather comes, so all the cool people hit the beach. My old air conditioner craps out, so it's 1,000 degrees inside, and I'm stuck on a video call in my underpants trying not to sweat through my...
Wait. Put these sunglasses on.
I'm not going to put on your...
Whoa. The air conditioning experts at Bueller Air and Plumbing can keep your home office cool and comfortable all summer long. You look good in your meeting, impress the big guy with your cool confidence, maybe finally make assistant deputy regional manager.
Wow, air conditioning can do that?
Life moves pretty fast. If you spend all summer worried the weather is going to be too nice, you could miss it.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
I
Tucker Equipment Rental in Neptune Beach, you just don't rent quality machines, you rent quality customer service. Hi, I'm Kevin.
And I'm Dave. Tucker Equipment Rental has been supplying Jacksonville with equipment and event rental for over 50 years.
From commercial and homeowner projects, we've got what you need: lifts, dirt equipment, and landscape equipment.
And don't forget about event rentals, from festivals to weddings to backyard barbecues.
Local, knowledgeable, and always ready to help.
Tucker Equipment Rentals.
You need it, we've got it, come see us.
I'm 1010XL's media mogul, Dan Hicken, and before the weekend hits, I break down what to watch and where to be. Catch Musings with the Media Mogul on YouTube and Facebook, provided by Tucker Equipment Rentals in Neptune Beach.
Baseball is back. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball at the newly renovated Vistar Ballpark is your home for affordable family fun. Tickets start at just $5. Fireworks after every Friday home game and kids round the bases after Sunday games. Log on to jackshrimp.com for tickets and details. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball, affordable family fun.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Dan Hicken with a game changer. I've tested the field, and Checkmate Coatings is my new go-to for durable, jaw-dropping floor coatings. Better play, better results.
I'm Brendan from Checkmate Coatings. Our precision coatings make your floors the MVP of any space.
Slam dunk your floors at checkmatecoatings.com. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Want a simple way to boost your company's image without a big renovation? A fresh paint job in your brand's colors can increase recognition up to 80%. At Performance Painting, we help companies stand out with clean, on-brand finishes that impress clients and energize employees. From color consultations to low-odor coatings that won't disrupt operations, we've got you covered. Visit performance-painting.com to schedule a friendly estimate. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Guys, want a golf course fairway quality lawn? TopDressing.com just landed in Jacksonville with the golf course secret for St. Augustine grass homeowners. A patented process that aerates and turns your turf into a fairway stunner. Serious golf course technology, but in your yard. Less water, tighter cuts, total neighborhood domination. No one else scores a perfect 10 lawn. Hit TopDressing.com now. You will own the block. Top dress your yard like the pros with TopDressing.com.
Is your backyard ready for the big leagues? Pick it here for Surfside Pools. Serving Northeast Florida since 1977, they have the home field advantage. Family owned and operated, offering weekly pool service, equipment repairs, commercial maintenance, remodels, and new pool construction. Let Surfside Pools make your backyard dreams a reality. Are you ready to float happy? Visit SurfsidePools.net or call 904-246-2666. Surfside Pools and Spas, your hometown MVP.
License number CPC 044080.
Leon Cercer here. There's a little bit less of the big fella right now, thanks to physician-guided weight loss. I'm down 15 pounds in just 2 months. Already feeling better than I have in years. And with no side effects using their GLP-1 prescription. Gotta admit, it's pretty easy. And right now, you can get the first month at just $90 with a visit, the meds, and the 3D body scan. Don't wait to bring sexy back. Get started now with physician-guided weight loss at pgweightloss.com.
Hey, Hicken here for my friends at Zero Res. They want to help you clean your home or business. Big summer savings with 3 rooms clean starting at $129 and 20% off your air duct cleaning. Call them 904-287-5727 and ask for the 1010XL special.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the Cool Down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
There are many things that are of importance when it comes to the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's important to have the offensive line in great shape this year. Also need a running game. Liam Cohen feels that is going to be of the utmost importance in order for the Jacksonville Jaguars to have a successful season, not only as a team, but for one Trevor Lawrence, the second most important guy this season to me is going to be that of Brian Thomas Jr. However, if you did hear from Jamal St. Cyr, he believes that the run game is going to be of the most importance. Now, he doesn't know who that is going to be, whether that is Bashal Tootin, Tank Bigsby, You also have Travis Etienne, LaQuint Allen, but someone is going to have to step up big on the run game in Jamal St. Cyr's opinion. Would love to hear your opinion as we get closer and closer to closing out this program. Saw this on Twitter. Daniel Jones, it does seem to many folks that he may be quarterback one in Indianapolis. I'm not saying that he's going to have a great year, but the question is asked, are we sure Daniel Jones isn't a great QB? His only chance that he had was with a bad Giants team with Darius Slayton as his wide receiver one. Now, there was a side-by-side that CBS put out, basically, I think, trying to stir up conversation that Trevor Lawrence is akin to Daniel Jones. Their numbers are almost identical, right? If there's somebody out here on Twitter, in the Twitter sphere, that is saying that, well, if you put a guy on a better roster, maybe he has an opportunity to have a better level of production, it almost kind of gives me some sort of relief, because I do want to believe in Trevor Lawrence. And whether you like it or not, like it, love it, hate it, you're going to have to believe in this guy. They paid him $275 million. This has to work with him. Tony Baselli and others think that this is going to work, right? So if you now place him in the right situation, under the right coaching, give him the right system, which he is speaking highly of. It also seems like Liam Cohen and others are saying that, listen, he's able to pick it up. Now, he hasn't thrown in 4 months. That's what a lot of people will not fail to remind you. He hasn't thrown in a while. So when we're hearing or reading these things on Twitter that maybe he threw an interception, maybe a pass was short, maybe a pass was deflected, he's still trying to get in the rhythm and the flow. I think Jacksonville has at least placed enough around him where you're saying, listen, we've taken away a lot of your security blankets, with the exception of Brian Thomas Jr., which you didn't play alongside a lot. Maybe this gives Trevor Lawrence an opportunity to show that he is a great QB. Franchise talent we'll get to when we get there, when we have that conversation again. But a great QB, this year may be the year in which he's able to show it. That's going to do it for us. We will be with you for another night this week. For Dylan Denmark, I am RJ Saunders. This has been Open Gym. Enjoy the rest of your night. We will talk to you tomorrow at 6 o'clock.